Hello Pisces, welcome back to the channel and welcome to your 2025 Astroclock. I am so delighted to be doing this year again. I decided to stick with the Astroclocks because they've proved to be popular and I think it's a pretty unique layout that is unlike others that you might find. So I'm very happy to be doing them again. Pisces, if you're new to this, welcome. I'm Leila, the Lenormand reader, and I use this amazing Lenormand deck. And we are doing today an annual forecast that's going to be an overview of the year ahead. So the Astroclock is a big spread that chooses the whole deck, all 36 cards. And what happens is that we divide up the cards into 12 groups of 3 cards. So 12 groups, that's 12 months. And we are going to get an overview of the year like this. And then in the coming months, we are going to do the monthly forecasts based on the 3 Astroclock cards of the month. So Pisces, are you ready for your Astroclock? Let's go ahead and see what 2025 has in store for you. Okay, Pisces, here is your Astroclock. As you can see, it's a pretty big spread. We have all the cards on the table. This means we have all the bright cards, all the challenging cards, all the people cards, all of it is in here. What makes your Astroclock unique is how they combine across the different months. So we've got these 12 groups of 3 cards, and you might have noticed that I start dealing out the cards at midnight and then I start at 1 o'clock for January. I go around the clock clockwise and I read in December. That's just my habit. You might have other ways of doing it. And before I get to the month-to-month reading each of the months, Pisces, I like to get an overview of the Astroclock. I like to orient myself a bit. I look for the very bright cards like the Star and Clover, the people cards like the Man and Woman and others, and some of the challenging cards like the Whip. So let's see, we have the beautiful Star and Clover. These are 2 very bright cards. They figure in March with a person card. We also have people cards here. We have the Man and the Woman close to each other, so this could actually be related. I think there's an ending here, Pisces. It doesn't have to be a love relationship, but we've got the coffin next to the man, and we've got the whip next to the woman, and it sounds like there's a separation, or maybe people are going in different directions. The garden is also a card of people, but with the fox and mouse, these are somewhat challenging cards. The sun is a very bright card, so is the key, and so is the flowers. The snake can be challenging, well, it is normally, but in this context with the cross and mountain, it's not the usual toxic snake. So let's go ahead and get into your month-to-month forecast, Pisces. Starting with January, we have the letter with the fish and road. This is a lovely combination for a path ahead that opens up with your money, your finances, or your work and business. That's because the fish is about these things. The road is about the path ahead, and the letter is some news. So you could get a contract here, you could get a deal, you could get some news that encourages you to move forward. So this is a lovely kind of combination that opens up opportunity for your prosperity. So we see activity right from the get-go. Now, February, we have the ring in the middle, and the ring is often a card of relationships or commitments. We have the child, which points to a new beginning. So it can be a new relationship or a new involvement. And the clouds can be a bit challenging. It's not challenging like the whip or anything like that, but it does bring a bit of tension and confusion. So you could be thinking about a new beginning in a relationship. You could be thinking about a new connection and a new commitment. And maybe it stresses you out a little bit, but I think that it works out. In March, we have the beautiful Star and Clover. And these are wish fulfillment cards, Pisces. They bring all around happiness. We see it with the dog. The dog is a card of friends and people. It can also represent colleagues and siblings. And so the happiness that we see here can be with a person or with the help of a person, or perhaps this person brings something of an opportunity to you. In April, we have the man, coffin, and anchor, and this is a definite ending. It's like something comes to a conclusion. Now, who this man is pretty flexible, Pisces. It just depends. It could be anyone from a colleague to a family member to a friend. It's very flexible. But typically, both the man and woman, they represent people who are pretty important to you. Now, in May, we have the whip and ship and the woman. So it's sort of similar in the sense that there's a change of direction, or that forward movement is compromised. That's because the ship is a card of activity and movement. It's, you know, it sails forward. But with the whip, there are challenges. And with the woman, it can be a relationship that, you know, that experiences problems. So I feel there's a similarity here in the sense that there's a parting within a relationship. So we're seeing this April and May. I think they're connected, but they don't have to be. And on this note, Pisces, when we get to the monthly forecasts every month of the coming year, we will take each of the groups for the month, and we're going to read more details on top of that. So stay tuned for those. Now in June, we continue with the people element. We have the garden, which is a card of community. It's a social card. So it can represent people, places, networks, or some kind of environment that you're part of. And the fox and mouse are both somewhat challenging cards. Again, they're not very dramatic. They're not like the whip, but they do bring a lack of trust, doubts, people who are not genuine, and, you know, these sorts of characters. So this looks like a warning sign, and it would tell you that if you're not comfortable with a certain place, you know, you might have to release yourself from it. We certainly see that in July. Now, the garden can also point, well, the fox can also point to jobs. It's the card of employment. And with the garden, we could be looking at your workplace. And so with the mouse, it's obviously a stressful environment. It's not a kind environment. It's like an annoying place. And that could be also what you're releasing yourself from. So the scythe is definitely a card of separation, and the bird can be an announcement. And the sun is an all-around relieving card. So it's like here, you relieve yourself from things that had been annoying you, like the stuff in here. You're able to break free, you find your voice, you're able to express, and it creates some space and a sense of happiness and all-around reassurance. So this is a very nice card to see here. The sun is, in fact, one of the brightest cards of the deck. So there is some serious release here, some serious freedom that comes from being able to express, or from being able to say no, or from moving away from an environment or a situation that had been challenging. August is also lovely. We have the key, rider, and house. Now the rider and house I often take to suggest a visitor, and the key can mean an opportunity or some answers or something that answers your hopes. And the key and rider is often the green light to move forward. So you could be getting together with someone here, and it could prove beneficial to you. Or perhaps you have access into a certain environment. You could get a job, an opportunity, a meeting that you'd been wanting. The way it manifests specifically in your situation can take on a lot of different scenarios. But the idea here is that a door opens, and probably you get help and support and answers. So a very nice combination. I have to add, Pisces, that the house and key is often a combination of property. So if you are buying, selling, or doing things around property, or maybe renting or working to improve your life situation, your house situation, you can get some pretty good answers here. You could find the right space. You could get support with anything related to your home and your space. And this is true not just for where you live, but possibly also where you work and other spaces in your life. So lovely cards here. In September, we have the book, lily, and bear. These are lovely cards, Pisces, for growth and empowerment. Now, I have to say they're not shiny cards like the sun, clover, star, but they are empowering, because the bear is a card of strength and power and courage. And the lily is a card of career and life path. And the book can mean things that are unknown, but it can also mean getting serious about certain things, deepening your knowledge, becoming more expert, and things like that. So this can be a lovely month for writing, learning, teaching. It's also great for creativity in a bigger way. And it's also lovely for becoming more senior, more authoritative in a certain area. Sometimes, Pisces, the bear and lily can point to legal matters. So if you're working through things like that, I think it's important to get into the details and to cover your knowledge base as much as possible. But otherwise, I think this is a great month for a sense of foundation and security, being expert, being serious about things, you know, having knowledge and having skills and experience. So we could be looking at a promotion here. We could be looking at a serious education and things like that. Now in October, we have the beautiful stork, moon, and tree. Something kicks off in your life here, Pisces. You could be looking at honors or invitations to, you know, grow. These are lovely cards for a positive evolution, because the tree grows steadily and the moon is a card of phases and the stork is about activity. It's very much about momentum that pushes something forward. And we see it after these cards. So again, we're seeing these cards of growth. And I have to say we can add to that the Tower, which is another card of the expert, someone in authority, management, people at the top, you know, because it's the Tower, it has that elevation. And we see it with the heart and flowers. So these are lovely cards for possibly appreciation, possibly success, very likely success, but I meant to say possibly popularity. And the heart and flowers is very much about having your heart in the right place. So you're pursuing things that you're passionate about. This can be very bright and aligned kind of feeling. The flowers is also a card of renewal, and the Tower can sometimes be a card of the past. So with the heart, there can be some feelings or a love relationship or something you had maybe left behind or had been going on for some time, or is connected to a chapter from the past, and it can figure again in your life. So it's a very good combination for renewal and possibly also forgiveness. Now, December is an interesting month. We have the snake, which is typically a deceptive and challenging card, but usually with people. And so the cross and mountain are not really people cards. Instead, when I see the mountain and snake together, I see it as getting around an obstacle, sometimes getting around someone's back. But there is this idea of having to go around an obstacle. This would be different, for example, from if you had the scythe and mountain, or you had the whip and mountain, where the suggestion would be to confront the obstacle in a more head-on kind of way. But with the snake, it's more roundabout, you know. The snake is more calculating and more discreet. So the best way forward here, Pisces, is to get around an obstacle, possibly moving around it, not confronting it so directly. Now, the cross can mean a couple of things here. The cross can be something challenging. It can bring up tests and trials, and it can bring up some kind of burden. It also imposes things on you sometimes, so I take it to mean as having to do something. And here we see that you've got to, you know, get around this obstacle. So actually that's a nice message in the sense that you don't want to give up on this. So you do what you can and you find a way around it, and you will, because the snake is really clever. Now, the cross and mountain is also a combination that suggests a very important chapter that is opening up for you. And the snake here can caution you and tell you to go about this slowly. So things could be in the works and you could be heading in a, you know, something bigger. And so you want to tread carefully. I think this builds up on the previous cards where we saw there's these openings here and these opportunities to grow and to, I don't know, move up to some level here, Pisces. So here we see that it's, you know, it's probably going to solidify and you're going to move ahead with it. You just need to be careful, and you also need to weigh everything. The cross is also a card like that. It's a card of weighing options and assessing things in a more serious way, I have to say. Sometimes the mountain is a card of places abroad or different locations. It doesn't have to be a different country, but it can be a different place from where you are. So maybe you are contemplating something in a different location, and the snake would invite you to go about this in a careful way. Sometimes also the mountain is a card that has to do with online things, the internet, things online. Maybe you're looking at that. I don't think so much. I think it's more about, I feel it's more physical in this triplet. So again, December is a quieter, calmer card that invites you to get around obstacles in an indirect way and to move away in a quieter way and possibly contemplate something abroad or in another location. And also you're moving into something significant, Pisces, so tread carefully and be aware that there can be others who are playing against you. So overall, Pisces, this is looking like an exciting Astroclock. We have sort of demarks of sorts where there are steps that are taken forward. We have the new beginning here between January and February, and we have a lovely opportunity here in March. April, May, and June, I think it's very clear about relationships. I have to say, Pisces, relationships are not looking so great. We have the dog, which is nice for friends, with these lovely cards, but we have 3 months here in a row where it looks like there are challenges with people. Now, who these people are, we'll get to the months and figure it out, or perhaps you have ideas, but I would focus on restructuring a little bit certain relationships between April and June. And in July, there's like a beautiful release, and from July onwards, there is this growth phase. You know, it's like there's a spurt of growth. We have the sun, the key, the rider, the powerful bear and lily, the tree with the moon growth, and then the flowers with the tower. So we have almost the second half of the year that is very much focused on growth. So in the earlier parts, focus on this new beginning and working on the opportunity. I can also suggest, Pisces, that between April and June, if there are distractions or annoying people or naysayers, this is a good time to sort of get them out so that you can focus on your growth here. And this is really significant growth. I really, you know, they're so close together, and there's this concentration of these ideas that I really think they sort of enhance each other and make it an even bigger deal. So we see these clear sort of demarks or clear pattern in your Astroclock. So let me know what you make of this, Pisces. If you are envisioning your 2025 year already, I'd love to know your feedback or your thoughts about this, if it resonates with what you're seeing for yourself, or how it might support you in your vision and, you know, how you manage the year. I always look forward to your thoughts and perspective. So thank you for tuning in, Pisces. I also want to say thank you for being with me throughout these months. I hope you will continue to be. Like I said, we'll be taking each of the Astroclock card groups and then build on them throughout the months as we do the monthly forecast. We also do the weekly forecast, and I'm also going to be doing other readings as well. So I hope you'll stay tuned. So thanks again for tuning in, Pisces. Very best of luck with 2025. And until next time, take very good care of yourself.